Welcome back everybody. Today we're making this crochet mountain baby teether. I made this for friends who are just mountain lovers, and I thought it's the perfect gift for expecting parents. This is quite an easy project, so it's beginner friendly, and I hope you have fun. You are going to need yarn of your choice in the color of your choice. I chose white for the top and gray for the mountain and some green for the bottom. You're also going to need a wooden ring, just like this one. And you are going to need a crochet hook. Make sure the crochet hook is a little less big than what the yarn calls for. That will ensure that the stitches are going to be very tight, so the filling is not going to fall out. We are going to start with our white, and we're going to start with a chain 2. So we're making our first loop here, putting the crochet hook through, and then I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. And now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet 6 into the first chain. So I'm going into this first chain right there, and then I'm going to single crochet 1 and going back into the same stitch, single crocheting 2. I'm going to get you a little closer. Back into the same stitch, pull the yarn through, and a third single crochet, and now 3 more. 4, 5, 6. So now that we have these 6 single crochets, we're going to join them together so we can start working in rounds from the next round on. So I'm going to find the first stitch that I made, or the first single crochet that I made into the other stitch. I'm going to put my needle through. Since it's very tight, this might take you some wiggling. There we go. So it's through now. And I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet into the next, and I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet into the next 2 single crochets. So it's 1, 2, and into the third single crochet I'm going to make an increase. So I'm going to go into the third stitch here and single crochet once, and then go back into the same stitch that I just was in and single crochet 1 more. So I made 1 increase. And for the next 2 stitches I'm going to single crochet into them again, 1 and 2, and into the third one yet again we're going to make an increase, so we have now 8 stitches around in total. You can now see the tip of the mountain starting to form here. We're just gonna, push this a little how we want it when we're done. But this is going to be the top, and now we're going to work down to the mountain part. This is also the part where you could mark the sides, because we're only going to do increases on the sides, so we get a nice rectangle while we crochet. So if you want to mark the sides so you don't have to count all the time, this is when you're going to do it. Just put little threads of yarn into your increases so you have a warning. Or if you have those little plasticky things, you can also put them in there now. But for now, we're going to do another round where we increase on the sides. So when we just did 2 single crochet and 1 increase, we're now going to do 3 single crochets and 1 increase, and then repeat on what is going to be the back side of the mountain. Again, 3 single crochets and 1 increase. So that's what we're going to do now. So here I have it. 1 single crochet, 2, and 3, and pull the yarn tight so you don't get any gaps. And then into the 4th one I'm going to do, in the 4th one I'm going to do an increase, and on the back side the same thing, 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and 1, increase, into the last one. There we go. Now we are on to round 4, and this is going to be the last round with only white, at least on my mountain. Of course, you can decide to make the snowy part on top of the mountain bigger if you like, but this is how I'm going to do it. So in this round, we're going to do 4 single crochets and then 1 increase, and then repeat that once more. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now do 1 increase, once and twice. Now repeat on the back side of the mountain. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then do 1 increase into the last stitch. So you should now have 12 stitches in total in your round. So now we're going to add in some gray, have some color change, and in order to do that and have that neatly, I'm going to not only put the gray into the next stitch, but I'm going to reopen my last stitch, at least the last part of it. You remember that was our increase. I have my single crochet here, these 2 loops, and I'm going to put them back on the hook because I learned a great tip from the gorgeous Pika Pau, who does great crochet books. I can only recommend them. And she said to make color changes not only by going into the next stitch with the next color, but also to end the stitch before that with the next color. And that way you have very clean edges. So that's what I just did. I ended my last single crochet in the 4th row with my gray, and now I'm going to make one single crochet with the gray, pull through, but not pull through the gray again, but because the next single crochet is going to be white again, I'm going to switch to my white, and as I just did, end also this stitch with the next color. So what we now did was one single crochet with our next color gray, and now we're going to do 3 single crochets with our color white. So I'm going to go into the next single crochet and do retighten and do 1, 2, 3, but careful now because we're going to do another color change, because the 5th stitch is going to be gray as well. So I'm taking my gray again, ending my last single crochet with the new color, going into the 5th stitch, pulling through my gray, and yet again ending this stitch with the color for the next stitch, which is going to be white. Hang on, there we go. Now I have 5 single crochets, and I'm going to do another increase into the 6th stitch, only in white. So it's 1 and 2. So what you can see, what we did here is we did the first single crochet in gray, then 3 in white, the 5th in gray again, and our increase in white. And we're going to repeat this on the back side. So what did I do? I had to switch to the other color already, which I'm gonna do now for demonstration purposes only. I forgot that. And my last increase with gray, make the first stitch on the back side in gray, end it with the next color white, do 3 single crochets with the white, 1, 2, 3, remembering not to end it with white, but because the 5th stitch on the back side again is going to be gray, I'm going to end it with gray and make the 5th stitch on the back side in gray, ending it with white again because our increase also on this side is going to be in white. So 1 more increase, pull them tight, and now onto the next round, and you can guess what we're going to do because I'm not finishing this stitch with white. For the next round we are going to do 2 gray single crochets, only 1 white single crochet, and then remain with only gray and also do the increase with gray, and then again on the back side have 2 gray increases, 1 white, and the remainder is going to be gray. So into my last increase I'm going to finish with gray for the nice color change, finish with gray, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in gray and another with gray, and you can already see how the gray is getting wider. So from the other side it'll look like the white is getting smaller. So the snow is just less when we go down the mountain. Now, of course, since I'm changing color again, I would have to change this stitch with white. So since I forgot, I'm reopening it, but maybe you remembered, going into our only stitch with white on this side, again switching to the other color to finish it off, and then again, and I'm going to do 3 single crochets in gray, 1, 2, 3, and also my increase with gray. So it's 1 and 2. So now I'm onto the back side, and again doing 2 gray, 1 white, 3 gray, and 1 increase. So that's 1, 2. Remember to finish with the change color. You're having the white there. Doing the next one in white, finishing with gray, doing 3 single crochets in gray, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 1 increase into the last stitch. So now you can already really see the peaks, not the peaks of the mountain, but the peaks of the stone in the mountain showing through. And now you can cut your white. Of course, if you wanted to make the snowy bits go down further, maybe also at some spots and not all of them, if you're making a bigger mountain or whatever, you could keep going like that, but I'm going to cut off the white at this point, leave a little tail so I can sew it in later, and I'm only going to continue with my gray. So at this point we have 16 stitches in total, so I'm going to keep increasing in each round until I get my desired length that I think fits to my wooden ring, and I'm going to switch to green at some point, but that's what you're going to do. So now I have gotten to the point where I want to switch to green, which was at when I had 26 stitches in total. So it was just 3 or 4 rounds more than from where I left you off. And how I determined that was that I wanted the mountain to sit on top. Let me zoom you out. On top of the ring, but I also want the green to go above the ring, and then on the sides you will have seen that already, how it looks in the end. So this is where the mountain is starting to reach over the sides of the ring, if you can see. So that's how I knew that I was ready. And I want to make some peaks also with the green, but not as sharp as I did with the snow. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do 2 single crochets in gray and then 2 single crochets in green. Then we're going to have some space in between in the middle. There we're going to do 5 single crochets in gray and then again 2 in green. So we have some height when you look at it from top down, but not as sharp as we did with only 1 single crochet in 1 row. So we're going to start with 1 single crochet in gray and a second, and remember to not finish it off, but finish it off with the new color, which will be dark green for me. There we go. Now finishing off this stitch with the green, and then make sure you keep this in here so it doesn't slip out. And then we're going to do 2 single crochets with the green. Remember to not finish off the last one, but go back with the gray. Too many threads back there. Finish it off with the gray and then do 5 single crochets with the gray. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't finish it off, but take the green. Now make sure not to tuck the green too hard so you don't pull your mountain together, but just make sure to give it as much space as it needs, or maybe even a little more. Pull the green through, tuck on the gray to keep it tight, and then do 2 single crochets with the green. Don't finish it as I just wanted to do. Take your gray, finish this last stitch. Then you have, in my case, 1 single crochet left and 1 increase, which you're going to do with gray as well. As you just saw, I put in a marker at some point because I was tired of counting the whole time. Now I have this increase, and then on the back, as we did before, we're just going to repeat what we did on the front side. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in gray, 1 and 2. Don't finish it, but finish it off with the next color. Taking your green, do 2 single crochets with the green, 1, 2. Oh, I finished it off. Go back in, finish it off with the right color. I just see a very significant difference when you do it that way. So even though I can hardly remember to do it, I still try to correct myself at the right point, just because it looks so much better in my opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, not finishing them off. Yay, I thought of it. Finishing it off with the green, making sure it has enough space here. And then doing 2 single crochets with the green. 1 and 2, don't finish it off. Take your gray, finish it off. 1 more single crochet with gray, and 1 increase. Don't finish off the increase, because for the next row we are going to switch to green completely. So just snap off your gray if you're finishing your gray here too. Leave a tail, sew it in later, and then take your green and do 1 entire row. Oh, I just lost my thingy here. I'm going to put it back in. Do 1 entire row just with green. So I'm starting here, proceeding just the way we did before, doing it all in green, doing increases on both sides so we can maintain this this triangle shape that we established in all the rows before. Of course, if you wanted to do a more narrow mountain, you could simply do increases in every other row. Or if you wanted to do a wider mountain, you would do 2 increases in every row, for example. Or if you want to vary because you're recreating a certain mountain, that's how you would manage how you want to make it wider, when you want to make it wider, and where. That's just for you to understand how you can do all the variations that you would like to do. It's your mountain. Do as you please. But this is just what I liked. This is no particular mountain. This is just my mountain. So I just did my increase in green, put in my stitch marker, back again. Now on the back side, going in there. And just finishing this row. Last single crochet and 1 increase at the end. 1, 2. There we go. Pull tight, put back in my stitch marker. There we go. So now you can see it's subtle, but it's there. So it's not entirely straight, which I didn't want, but it's not as sharp as this, for example, especially because, of course, the green and the gray are not as different as the white and the gray, so it's not as catchy. But yeah, it's still just a little variant in there, and I'm later gonna stitch on some trees anyway, so that's just gonna enhance the impression that there's trees growing and they're not perfectly straight as they wouldn't be. So we're now going to continue with one more row just in green, doing all the increases where they belong. So as you can see, I just cut off the strand when we ended with our second row of only green, and I already did one side here, so you can see what is going to happen. I'm going to show you with the wooden ring. So the idea is that we're gonna close it off later underneath the ring, and then with this part that we're going to create on the other side, close it around the sides, so you will have some kind of extended wood going around the ring, but still having the shape of the ring shown. I felt like that was a nice compromise, because with only this, I thought it looked a little like a hat on the ring. But you know, you could just, if you prefer it, for example, just like this, you could just leave it at that, and then have just some stitching around here and attach it like that. You can do whatever you like, but this is how I'm going to attach it. So I'm going to show you how I make this little corner here on the side, on the other side. So this is where your stitch markers come in handy, if you have marked where your increases go, even though you can also see it quite well. I'm gonna zoom in. You can see it in the pattern where you did 2 single crochets in every single stitch. It just looks a little different, even if you have not had so much experience with looking at crochet stitching. But yeah, you can see this row maybe going down here, and this is where your increases should peak. And what we are going to do is we're going to take our green yarn and reattach it on the side, and we are going to reattach it 4 stitches away from the increase. So there I have my increase, and I'm going to count the stitches back. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where I'm going to insert my needle, pull through the yarn. Now I'm going to chain 1 just to start it, and then I'm going to start with 1 single crochet into that same stitch, because we haven't single crocheted yet, So 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to do another single crochet in all of these 4 stitches. So now we're at our increase, and we are going to increase again just to keep the point of our triangle going, even with the extension down the wooden ring. So it's 1, gonna insert back my marker because we're still gonna need it on the background, and go into the same one again, do another single crochet. So now we have an increase. And now what we are going to do is we are making 5 more single crochets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back this same route by going into the next round, really, and we're doing 1 chain, flipping our work, and then working our way back again, doing 1 single crochet into every stitch and increasing at the increase. So go into the first stitch, 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So all the way back where we went before. Now we're at the increase. We're gonna go 1. I'm gonna put back in my stitch marker even though we're not gonna need it again, but just so because of the habit. Getting it once again. So this is our increase, and then just finish it off with 1 single crochet into every single stitch. And then into the last single crochet, which you can see here looks like this little V. Make sure not to go into the chain 1 that we created just to attach the yarn. That's not a stitch, just ignore that one. Now our last single crochet, I'm going to finish it off with a chain 1. Then I'm gonna cut the yarn but leave quite a tail, because that's what we're going to use to sew it onto the ring later on. Then pull the yarn through, tuck tight, and what you have now is this little mountain with feet, I'd say, which we're later going to attach, 1 here, and then these 2 feet here. And by extending or keeping the extension going on the sides, so keeping on increasing the way we did, we made sure that we still have this triangle shape. If you would like to have your forest be more snug to the ring, maybe something like this, and just keep the shape of the ring, you would stop your increases. So then the work would just go straight down and it would be more snug to the ring. It's whatever you decide to do with your mountain, but that's how I did it. So for the next step, I chose to stitch on some trees, just to give it a little more dimension. So I hope you can see it there. What I did is I took 2 different colors. So I have this kind of sage green and then a dark green too. And what I did, I first stitched on just very basic little trees in the sage green, and then put a dark green kind of on top, a little over it here on the other side. You can see it. I really put it over the sage green just to give the impression that it's in the front. And I'm just gonna do one more, and I'm gonna show you how to do it, or how I do it. Of course, you could do it more detailed. You could do it in a more realistic fashion, but I just like the abstract nature of it. So I have my dark green here. I just took the thread that was already in there from the last tree, but of course, if you're starting new, you will just attach it newly onto it. And I think I'm gonna put it here. Let me zoom you out just a bit so I have more frame. So yeah, what I did is I started somewhere and I'm just gonna pull through, and then I will start with the stem, but I'm not gonna do one large stitch, but I'm gonna do a couple of smaller stitches that seem to work out better. So here I have my first little stitch, and now I'm gonna go just a little above that. I hope you can see it even though it's dark green on dark green, but yeah, just going through there and then going back to where the other stitch showed up on the front of the work. There we go. And also, because I'm trying to give the impression that the dark green trees are in front of the sage green trees, I'm making them a little bigger. But of course you could do whatever that's wrong, there we go, whatever you prefer to do. So you can see it's just a little taller than the tree to the side there. And now for the branches of the tree, I'm choosing to overlap it a little. So I'm gonna go in here, just in between the other tree, pulling through, and then joining it back to the top, a little above the top, even to make a pointy tip. And then going to the other side. And I don't particularly look to make them even or perfect. I like this shagged look to the tree, just because that's what I feel like it would look like at the top of the mountain, you know, where the tree line ends. They are not lush. They're just the last ones surviving there in the cold and in the air with less oxygen. So yeah, you could just leave it with two, but I'm gonna do a third one. I'm gonna do it a little off to the side here, make it look shagged, as I said. And I'm also not doing perfect spaces, but I'm gonna put it a little above here, just for some variety. Doing one more. This one's going to be wide but short. Oh, lost it there. Hang on. There we go. So going here. And then what do I like? I think I like this. I'm going to put this on the top too. There we go. Pulling through. Yeah, I like that. Okay. All right, and now I'm just gonna tie it off in the back. Let me see if we can get a little more light here. Make a knot with the beginning of it, and there we go. Just gonna stuff it all in there. And there I have it. That's how I like it. I'm gonna keep it as scarce as it is on here. Just a couple of trees, really. Nothing major, nothing fancy, but that's the way I like it. So now we're going to attach it to the wooden ring. I decided to not put any filling into the mountain. Just, I don't know, it would be just a little, and I think it's fine the way it is. I don't think it's gonna collapse in any way by not putting filling in it. It can just be a little looser, I guess. I think that's fine. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna close the mountain around the ring on the bottom here and on the sides that we created by making the little legs. And I'm also going to try to do it in one nice and even motion to get kind of the round shape as much as I can. So I'm going to use these strands that we left to sew it on and just connect the sides to each other. So I just started sewing it together here. Try to make it as tight as you can, just so it doesn't come loose. And I'm just going into the crochet stitches, the little V's. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but you can see the V's here going down the sides, and I'm just trying to hit them because it's going to be the most stable, really. So yeah, always try to hit 2 strands and not only one, so it doesn't come loose. And that's what we're gonna do. So now we're just going to weave in these ends, and for that I'm just going to go through one of the legs from another side with my needle and weave my needle through, getting closer to where the strands end. Then I'm going to take one of them, go, and weave that through there just a little, and then I'm going to go from the other side for the other strand. Start here, and weave that through too. There we go. Tuck on it a little so it doesn't curl up. And on this side, I'm just gonna cut the 2 strands close to where they get out. Tuck a little so when the strand releases, it's gonna disappear into the work. There There we go. And it's gone. And there you have your finished mountain teether. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you recreate this. Have a good day.